Hey everybody, so a couple of days ago, Captain America Civil War finally hit theaters, and I have to say it has been one of my most anticipated films to see this year, and so far it is my favorite film of the year. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very hard to be topped. I'm expecting Apocalypse to be incredible as well, and also Rogue One. Now, the thing about Captain America Civil War that I loved so much was how we were made to understand and feel for both sides, Team Cap and Team Iron Man. I am Team Cap, and I am very justified in my reasons for being Team Cap. I have said that in the past. I have explained in the past my reasons. What I really love about this film and all of the other Captain America films, they have gotten better each time. Like, I can't say the same thing about all the Thor movies, the Iron Man movies, all of those, but the Captain America movies just get better and better and better, and I just keep getting blown away by them. And the Russo brothers did a phenomenal job with this film. Little thing, how many of you spotted one of the brothers in the film? Let me know if you did. That was really interesting to see. First off, let's talk about the teams, because some of the teams I didn't expect those specific characters to be on that team, but I really understood once I really thought about it why they chose those specific teams. Now, let's talk about Team Cap. On Team Cap, we have Cap, Bucky, Falcon, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Ant-Man. I think that was a really interesting team up, especially Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd and what he has brought to this character. Oh, just, he is amazing. I know I didn't do an Ant-Man movie review, but I love that film as well. Now, as far as Team Iron Man, I was a little surprised that, well, I'm gonna go ahead and name the team members and I'll get back to what surprised me. Now, on Team Iron Man, we had, of course, Iron Man, Rhodey, aka War Machine, Vision, Black Widow, Black Panther, and Spider-Man. The thing that really got me about this was seeing Black Widow on this team because she was going against Hawkeye. Natasha and Clint are really great friends, have been for quite some time, and when they are pitted against each other, they start pulling their punches, and it's really fun to watch how they end this scene and how their little back and forth goes. I really enjoyed this huge fight scene. Now, there are, of course, a ton of amazing fight scenes, but that was one of my favorite things between them in this movie. At the beginning of this film, we see a scene where the Avengers are off in Lagos trying to retrieve this biological weapon that Brock Rumlow, aka Crossbones now, has put into play. This is a really intense scene that really sets the entire film in motion and gets things going, because when he is up against Cap, he decides to commit suicide to kill Cap. Well, what happens is Scarlet Witch uses her powers to lift him into the air. He blows up in a building full of people, and a bunch of people die. So that brings about this big issue about all of the governments not trusting the Avengers, and they create this new bill called the Sokovia Accords, and yeah, not everybody wants to sign, because it'll give the UN complete control over when and where the Avengers can legally save people. Yeah, no, it's not cool, but Tony's totally down, and it's not how you would expect Tony from way back. He used to just say, screw the government, but now he's just rolling over and complying, and yeah, it's not good. And Cap is not feeling it, especially when Tony and Natasha and those that want to sign the accords, they go to sign them, and there's a huge bombing, and Bucky is framed for the entire thing, and the King of Wakanda is killed in the process. It's bad. It's really bad, and I felt so bad for Bucky, honestly. It was so bad that he got framed for this thing. I mean, he just can't catch a break in this movie. He can't catch a break, and he's on the run most of the film. Now, when the accords and all are being signed and just all this mess is going down, Cap is off at a funeral, and it is Peggy Carter's. She died in her sleep. And when he's at the funeral, he finally discovers that Sharon Carter, Agent 13, is Peggy's niece. Just, yes. And she gives a really amazing speech at the funeral that just really, it spoke to Steve. And I feel like Sharon is going to be up to a lot of great things in the future films, and I cannot wait to see more of her. So when Steve finds out that Bucky supposedly was responsible for this bombing, he goes and tries to find and save Bucky before they can do anything to him. Well, needless to say, it's a big failure. Bucky is acting like he still doesn't know who Steve is, but he does, and he kind of admits it pretty quickly. And then they're on the run from the governments, and they end up getting caught, but not before they have this incredible chase, and Black Panther jumps in, and it is just, yes. T'Challa is a really awesome character, and I cannot wait to see him in the actual Black Panther film, because oh, this character just, yes, he was awesome. Now, once they are all captured and Bucky is in a containment cell, box thing, it's some kind of like big box. I don't know what it's made of, but he presumably cannot get out of it or something. Not easily. Well, he is all set up for questioning, and when he gets questioned, oh yeah, it's bad. Because there's this character named Zemo who is undercover, and he is manipulating the Avengers to a T into a horrible situation. He has retrieved this book from Hydra that once you say these set of words, these phrases, to Bucky, the Winter Soldier, he goes back into Winter Soldier mode and can be controlled. Well, he takes the place of the actual person who's supposed to be interrogating Bucky, and he says these words to Bucky. Bucky recognizes that he's doing this, and when he is activated, yeah, it's bad, and Bucky starts beating everybody up, and it's really bad. It's really bad. And Steve, of course, helps him, but not before, like, a bunch more mess happens, and yep. So after Steve and Falcon are able to recapture Bucky and make sure he is actually Bucky and not in full-on Winter Soldier mode anymore, they start to question him and make sure, really make sure, he is fully himself. And once they do that, they start to ask Bucky a little bit more about what he all knows and why he was activated. And he tells them that he was not the only Winter Soldier. There are several others, and they are just as dangerous, if not more dangerous than him, and this guy was trying to find out where they were located. So yeah, now we've got Cap, Falcon, and Bucky trying to go and save the world, while they have Iron Man and his team all trying to bring them to justice and following the law and such. So they are being stopped from saving a bunch of people because, yeah, these Sokovia Accords and stuff. It's just a mess. It's a total mess. So then we have the two teams starting to fully, like, really get together. We have Hawkeye show up. He goes and retrieves Scarlet Witch. She is under, like, house arrest by Vision. Can we just not, like, why was Vision wearing that sweater and stuff? It just, like, really messed with my head. I just no. Just no. That was not okay. I really enjoyed the Scarlet Witch and Vision scenes, but I did not enjoy Vision's wardrobe. It was not good. I know he's not a real person and he has no fashion sense, but seriously, no. Now, when Hawkeye comes to get her, Vision, of course, challenges him, and Wanda, she somehow messes with the Infinity Stone and then legit just smashes Vision through the floor. I don't know how far down she put him, but it was deep. So once we think we have all of Team Cap together, we get one more addition. Now, we all knew he was in this film, but the way he was introduced was it was brilliant. Hawkeye opens a van door and Scott Lang is right there, Ant-Man. And when Scott meets Cap, he just, seriously, he fanboys out big time, jumbles up his words, says something along the lines of, "Thanks for thanking of me." And I lost it, especially when he was speaking with Falcon and he starts to apologize for everything that happened in Ant-Man, and Falcon's like, "Yeah, it'll never happen again." Good stuff. So right after all this happens, Iron Man and his team show up and things really just go down. Now, I'm gonna get back to this in just a second, but I want to note that one really awesome character in Iron Man's team that we are introduced to is Tom Holland as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. He actually did a really great job. I was really nervous about this new actor playing Spider-Man. We've had so many Spider-Mans. I didn't know what to think. I think he did a brilliant job. I wasn't too keen on the whole hot Aunt May, but I guess it worked for the scene. I don't know. Marissa Tomei's great, but I didn't know what to think about that afterwards. I was just like, yeah. So that happened. Now, back to Spider-Man. When Spider-Man is in this entire fight, he is fanboying himself. He's fighting all these heroes that he looks up to, and when he meets Bucky, he's like, "You have a metal arm? That's awesome!" And oh my gosh, I was fangirling as I was watching him fanboying, because I feel like I would be the same way when I would meet all of them, and it was so great. Now, when they're all fighting, there are a lot of incredible scenes. One of the best scenes, I think, was when Ant-Man went giant. Yes, he went legit giant form, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. He grabs Rhodey and he starts like swinging him around and stuff, and Iron Man says, "Give me back my Rhodey." Oh, yes. Yes, it was so great. Now, the horrible thing about this entire fight that just blew me away was when Rhodey's suit shut down. It was damaged and shut down, and he just hit the ground. Like, he fell. Iron Man and Falcon tried to get him before he hit the ground, but yeah, he fell and he's partially paralyzed, and casualties of war. I mean, yeah. That happened, and hopefully he's spick and span in the future, because Rhodey's awesome, and I mean, they showed him learning to walk again, and yeah. Hopefully he heals all the way. Now, before I talk about how the movie ended, there is one other scene I want to mention that I loved so much. It was hilarious, and everything that happened between all the characters was just so great. In the scene, Cap is retrieving his shield, his gear, and Falcon's gear from Sharon, and they finally kiss. Cap just lays one on her unexpectedly, and it is beautiful. But you know what was the best thing about this entire scene? Seeing Bucky and Falcon just sitting in the car watching, and like when Steve looked back at them, they're just like, and in their mind, I'm sure it was like, bro, yeah, dude, yeah, you go. Because that was a total bro moment, and I'm waiting for all the memes, because that was an incredible scene, and I could rewatch that scene several times. It's amazing. Now, okay, I think it's time to move on to what went down at the end of this film, because my brain, like, I could not even comprehend how insane everything was that went down. So basically, Cap and Bucky are able to get away and head off to Siberia to try and stop this guy, Zemo, who they believe is trying to activate these Winter Soldiers and use them to, like, destroy the world or whatever. Well, yeah, it's really bad, because there are only 2 of them and several of them. So Iron Man, when he finally figures out that Bucky wasn't responsible for the bombing and all that, and that it was Zemo the whole time in disguise, he goes and speaks to a bunch of the Avengers who are being kept in this bunker in the ocean. It's like a submarine prison thing. I don't know. It's not very easily escapable. He finally gets the information on where Cap is and decides to go help him. Well, it's all looking good at first, but when he gets over there, Zemo has killed all of the Winter Soldiers. So they all decide together, Cap, Bucky, and Iron Man, to take on this guy. But then Zemo turns on a video and shows footage from way back when in 1991, and it is of Tony's parents' death. And we then remember the flashback scene at the beginning of the movie where Bucky goes and crashes this car and retrieves something out of the trunk. It's the serum to be used to make the super soldiers, and then kills the occupants. Well, when Tony sees this footage, we put 2 and 2 together and we see Bucky, well, not really Bucky, it was the Winter Soldier, but Bucky killed Tony's parents. And Tony loses it. He doesn't care that Bucky wasn't himself. He goes after Bucky, and Cap, of course, helps Bucky. They're fighting back and forth, fighting back and forth. We think someone's gonna die. Well, at the end of the fight, Tony destroys Bucky's metal arm, and then Steve destroys Tony's arc reactor, thus rendering the Iron Man suit pointless and not able to do anything. So that ends that entire fight. And we're just kind of left a little lost as to where things are going to progress from here. Well, during all of this that is going down, the Black Panther discovers that Bucky was not responsible for his father's death and goes and approaches Zemo outside and finds out that Zemo's family was killed in Sokovia. And that is the entire reason for all of this. And he attempts to kill himself, but yeah, T'Challa wasn't having it and turns him over. Yep. He is totally not gonna get out of it easy. And I'm just gonna mention this real quick because he didn't have a huge role, but oh my gosh, Martin Freeman was in this film as Everett Ross, and he just, yes. He was amazing, and I hope we get to see more of him in the future in the Marvel Universe. Now, back to the Avengers and what is going on with all of them. Well, we see a whole scene where Rhodey is undergoing physical therapy. Tony is trying to help him, and Vision is just kind of sitting there trying to think things through and figure out what is life, basically, because I think that's all he's really ever thinking about, because, yeah, he's doesn't understand what the Infinity Stone is and all that stuff and how he's alive. So yeah, he's still contemplating life. Now, the Avengers that helped Cap and stuff, yeah, Cap breaks them out of that prison. And then we see them off in their beautiful new headquarters in the jungle. And yeah, Tony's not there. But he has left an open invitation for whenever he wants to rejoin the team. Okay, so there are a couple other scenes that I almost forgot to mention, but I'm gonna mention them now because they were really incredible. When we first see Tony in this film, we see a scene that it's like a flashback scene, but it's something that he created, and it's to help people cope with old memories and traumatic events. And I just have to say, those in charge of creating that scene and de-aging Robert Downey Jr. Of course, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. has been in a lot of films, and there's a lot of photos around to easily be able to make him look that young, but it was just incredible to see him that age and to see him with his parents. It was a great scene. And another thing about that scene was seeing and finding out that Tony and Pepper Potts are on a break, or they have broken up, and he is not doing well without her. I feel like he would have handled the entire situation he is going through a lot better if they were still together. Alright, so that's basically what all went down in this entire film. Now let's talk about the mid and after credit scenes because they were great. In the mid credit scenes, we see a scene of Bucky and Cap in the new headquarters, and Bucky is still armless, well, missing his metal arm, and he is being put back on ice until he cannot be controlled by those words anymore. So hopefully when Infinity War rolls around, he is back in control of his mind and cannot be controlled by others, because I don't want him to stay on ice. This was a really great film for Bucky, especially to finally see how he has been dealing with having been the Winter Soldier and what he's going to do to change others' opinions of him, because it is going to take a lot of work to change the overall opinion of him. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but hopefully it does. Fingers crossed. Now, let's talk about the after credit scene. It is centered around Peter Parker after the big fight. He arrives home with a black eye. Aunt May starts questioning him. Once he gets her out of the room, he discovers something really cool in his web shooter. It is a projection of the Spider-Man symbol. Just like, yes, it is so cool, and I really enjoyed that entire little after credit scene, especially when it said Spider-Man will return. I love Spider-Man. I've always been a big Spider-Man fan, and I am very intrigued to see more of Tom Holland as Spider-Man and see how they do these storylines, if there's going to be a Mary Jane, if there's going to be a Gwen Stacy, what all they're going to do. It's going to be really fun to see. And I cannot wait for the Infinity War films, the Black Panther film, Thor Ragnarok, Doctor Strange, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. There are just so many incredible Marvel movies coming our way, and I am ready. I am so ready for all of these movies. I loved this film. I cannot wait to see it another time and several more times. I am going to see it as many times in theaters as I can. You can expect another movie review from me very soon. I will definitely be reviewing X-Men Apocalypse. I may even review Alice Through the Looking Glass. I haven't decided for sure yet. If you enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.